It's yelling because it is the first parameter that is taken is database name, right? And that's what we need, customers. And then let's close this line of code right here, okay? And one other thing which I want to add Swagger, I would like to show you how we can basically do control of the Swagger documentation. And what was the Swagger? If you remember, when I hit the F5 or when I click on the Web API beginners right here, then the Web API opened up in a browser, right? So that uses the Swagger template documentation, but then it was pretty standard because it's not specified here. So now we can specify it. What we can do here is I will specify the options. For example, Swagger version, the title, and the version, for example. So how do we do this? It's pretty easy, to be honest, and I can use another Swagger, another actually Lambda here, and say O dot, oops, and say, oh no, actually, there we go, and do this, and then just say, oh, Swagger doc, and then open the brackets, and within that say that this is version 1, okay, and then new, and this is a new actually documentation with the title, for example, web APIs customers, actually customers web APIs, comma, and then version 1, okay. So that's how we do that. And what I want to do here is the following thing. What I can do is I can also, well, actually we don't have to do anything here. Let's just test that this is working up on, well, actually, right, there's nothing yet to be shown because we only have the model and we do not have any controllers. So nothing's going to happen, but let the exactly, do you want to download? No, this is something else I have installed. So what you see is really just a blank web APIs documentations, but this is the title, customers web APIs version 1, and no operation defined in the specs. And this is happening because actually there is no controllers yet. There is no any functionality under this web API. So let's continue with the with adding the controllers. Okay. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm really going to show you a very easy way to create the controllers. So Microsoft has thought about this, and they have given us the option to scaffold the controller, and that's just for the sake that we speed up development. Now, keep in mind that in most of the cases, when doing complex APIs, there will be, as I said, more complex types involved here as properties or fields, and then this is when you would need to start typing in manually code, even though you scaffold the controller. But it's a usable feature, and it speeds up development anyway. So with just a single click of, for example, and add a new scaffolded item, and then choose the right. And now what we need to do is we need to pick API controllers with actions using read write endpoints. I think this is what we need. Let's see what we get. And this is based on the model class customers, and it's going to be called, and this is our customers data context, and this is how we call the controller. And let's see what is produced. I don't use this option much, so I don't know if it's the right one, but I will know when I look at the code. Now we'll see what happens. Okay, so city must contain, all right, so there were some troubles, I believe, or my Visual Studio is now responding. So let's see what happened here. It gave us some warnings, but that doesn't mean that the controller was not created at all. Okay. I don't understand why this happened. Sometimes it happens. So what I will do, probably the best thing in my case is to close my Visual Studio. This is inversing. And yep, to close the Visual Studio and to run it again. Okay, so this is another, I've been building something here, I guess. Anyway, so I'm going to open again the same solution. I don't know why this happened. Usually it's not supposed to happen. But it's good that you see what to do in such circumstances. You can either wait for the process to finish, or maybe just stop the Visual Studio service and then just reload it again, just the way I did it at this point. So our controller was created in our case, and I will just open this customers controller CS file just to inspect it and just to see if everything is under control. Yes. Okay, so what happened here? So what's going on here? So you have the controller is nothing else but a concrete class. In our case, it's called customer controller. It inherits from the controller base class in order to build the responses, the get, the put, the delete, and uh, the post functionality. Now, if we go a little bit up there, okay, it appears that my Visual Studio is still loading. We'll take a look that the class on top has two annotations. The first one is route, and then within the route, we specify the endpoint to be API/controller. That means that our endpoint is going to call, it's going to be the local host, then the port, and then API, and the controller name, which is customers. So controller gets omitted in the endpoint, okay? So it's going to be customers. So if you take a look, what I was trying to say here, this is the endpoint that we're going to get. This one, and this one, and this one for put and for delete. So how does that really look like under the browser? Let's run it and see how that looks like, and then we'll come back again to the to explain the code and what's happening here. Okay, oh, perfectly fine. So this is our schema, and our schema is pretty much our model, complete model. And then under this model, we say